I encourage you all. I encourage you all to submit. I mean, it was free money, right? I would say Rachel's was the best out of anybody's, but I'm just saying. I might be a little biased, but I'm not. It's good. It was good. So yeah, congratulations, Rachel. Excellent presentation. You make my job a lot easier because Rachel won two, and then Isabella from Isabella from campus, right? There are like 20 something campuses, so I think that it's like everybody on our campus has to know each other. So yeah, Isabella's at our campus as well. She won two awards. Yeah, both of you all did sustainability. So well, no, yeah. So you won two, Isabella won two, and then there was a group of three students. There are a group of three students where none of them were from the campus, and they won. They did research on crypto and sustainability, so that was excellent. Brought a tear to my eye, made me very happy. But yeah, so those are the three that won. Brittany left. Those are the three that won. And then there were some other presentations from Dr. Goldstein students, and I think there's another advisor that had a lot of submissions on birds and things. That was actually kind of interesting, but yeah. Anyway, all right. So I guess everyone's getting close to the end of the semester because everybody's dropping off. Everybody's dropping off very quickly. All right. So I hope they watch the recording because this is what you're going to be tested on. All right. So what we discussed last week.
We were talking about like the organizational structures and how there's the simple structure with like the owner and then like all the employees. And then I think it was the functional structure next with like somebody at the top, and then there's like specific department managers with their employees under them. And I don't remember the last two.
Okay. Anything else we talked about? So we had the divisional structure and a matrix structure. All right. So when we talk about the divisional structure, that's where you kind of have that departmental type layout, right? So you're going to have the production manager, you're going to have the R&D manager, you're going to have the supply manager, you're going to have the financial manager. Then you have the people under them within that divisional structure. So whenever you see divisional structure, just think of, departments or divisions of an organization. All right. So also from a matrix, why am I going on? Just should be sharing my screen. Duh. All right, let's see here. So from a matrix structure, the matrix structure is where you're going to continue to have that department head, but then this is more for a projectized type organization. Okay, so here construction would be perfect for this one. Construction would be a good example. Why did my thing just fly out on me? So yeah, construction will be a good example where you're going to have a number of different project managers on a construction project. You're going to have a number of different marketing managers. So whether it's residential or whether it's commercial, and then within residential, you're going to have a number of different projects within that residential area. And then in commercial, you're going to have a number of projects within commercial, right? But from a marketing perspective, you still have a roll up, if you will, right? So same thing for engineering. So you're going to have residential engineering requirements and codes you have to follow. Then you also have commercial codes and regulations you have to follow. Okay. Now, also within commercial, you're going to have a number of projects from a construction perspective, engineering perspective, and the same for the other. So you see how, although it's under one department, you're going to have projects within that department, right? So not to confuse you, so with the engineering, if we're talking construction, each one of those projects are going to have a project manager, right? Now, for residential and commercial, so residential will have a program manager, right? That manager overlooks the program, the residential program. Okay. He overlooks residential, he or she overlooks the residential program. And then he's going to have a number, he or she is going to have a number of projects under him or her for residential. That makes sense? So I think that you all have experience, so you all can kind of relate to that, where each project's going to have a project manager, and then you're going to roll up all of those project managers are going to report either to a program manager or to a project management office, right? So that's those structures that you're going to have. So again, if you look at this from a marketing perspective, right? You're going to have, the director of marketing, right? And then you're going to have a number of projects. And then each one of those projects may or may not have a project manager, or a project manager will be managing multiple projects. Rachel, how do you do it at your company?
It depends on the specific type of project. So if we're working on like a video project, our head of video, our video editor kind of takes the reins on it. And then everybody kind of reports to her.
Uh-huh. Okay, excellent. Juliana, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Do you all have anything like from a project management perspective at the brewery?
No, not really, honestly, like, because like our staff right now is really small. It's literally it'll be me, then somebody above me would be like, James, and then it'll be like the brewmaster. So we don't really have a lot of like people we report to, but like I used to work at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and that was a whole different setup, because so we had like a shift lead, and then we had a kitchen manager, and we had a front of house manager, and then we had like the bar manager. So I think that's probably more relatable to like this, I guess, with different structures, like who relate to who, and then the regional, and then the GM. But where I'm working at right now, we don't really have much of a system like that, because it's pretty small.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, thank you all. Thank you for that. In a review of last week. So this week, second. I really think this laptop's going to crash because I can't do anything. We've got a few more weeks before it crashes, right? Organizational design. All right. All right, 2 more pieces. So we're going to get through this week. You're almost done with me. Aren't you happy? See, like, should I say yes or? All right, so strategic leadership. So strategic leadership, we're getting close to the end. Whenever you think of strategic leadership, you want to think of the leadership of the organization. You want to think of the executive, the chief chief executive officer, you know, the COO, chief operating officer, the chief information officer, the chief security officer, you know, and so on, right? So you have chief marketing officers. Oh, how could I forget the most important one to you all, right? You know, so you have the strategic leadership, and I would say that from a chief marketing officer perspective, they are going to provide the vision of that particular area of the organization, right? So from a chief perspective, they are going to chart the strategic plan, the long-term plan from a marketing perspective, right? So they chart the long-term vision of the marketing, but the director of marketing, they deal more with the tactical day-to-day operations of marketing, right? So the director of marketing ensures that they are working toward the strategic vision that the chief marketing officer sets forth, right? So if you were a chief marketing officer now, what would be your strategic vision within your organization based on where we stand today with marketing? I'm very interested in what your thoughts would be. This is your area, not mine.
I mean, like for Canada Dry right now, I mean, soda's kind of stagnant. There's not much innovation going on. But
Say it again.
I said for Canada Dry right now, innovation has been kind of stagnant. Like there's
Okay, gotcha.
not changed. And one thing I would like to get done if I was CEO was that Pepsi has these like half a pallet wide and still equal length pallet that you could bring out on the grocery store floors, whereas you can't bring a full pallet out onto a grocery store floor. And that would help improve efficiency and help get things done a lot faster if we were able to incorporate that as well.
So what do they do? What do you do now with the full pallet? You have to like break it down at the truck and take it in, or what?
You have to break it down on like a little cart and take it out. So it takes multiple trips, where it'd be a lot easier if you could just pull it out.
Interesting. Very interesting. So what would you do if you were the chief marketing officer at Canada Dry?
Probably pass on the message to our salespeople to let the stores know that we're going to be implementing that and to get them excited about like us not staying in the store as long because we could work faster.
Excellent. Hey, give me a second. I'm frozen up. Let me get back on here. Let me sign off the time I can. Give me a second. This is crazy. All right, give me a second. I'll be right back. All right. See me now?
No, you're not moving.
Shoot. All right. Let me sign off and try back in. Give me a second. Now I can't even sign out. This is nuts. All right. Oh man. All right. You hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. This has happened like half the time overall. See, I'm gonna miss y'all, but I'm not gonna miss that. This is terrible. All right, so yeah, the marketing, yeah, but the marketing is going to be more catered towards the consumer. Do you think the consumer is going to care about that?
Well, the consumer is the grocery store. Like we don't sell directly to individuals. We sell to the grocery store.
Yeah, you sell to the grocery store, but your consumers are the reason to keep that demand going to the grocery store.
Right.
The grocery store is not buying Canada Dry just for the sake of just because they love you guys. They're doing it because the consumers are purchasing the product, so they're increasing the demand. So now the grocery stores have to get more product from you,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That's supply chain management. So you're getting more bang for your buck here.
Exactly. Like
So
we'll increase efficiency. We can keep more product on the shelf longer, allowing us to sell more. Like the sell through would be better.
say it again.
Like if we could increase how efficiently we put the product on the shelf and take it out onto the store floor, then there'd be like less holes in grocery store shelves because they can fill more often.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. Yeah. So what do you think, Rachel?
Going off of Noah's soda idea, I would say updating packaging to be more environmentally friendly because that's what the consumer wants today. Making things
See, I'm teaching y'all a few things. Okay. Continue.
making packaging more biodegradable in terms of like the plastic rings or whatever. People don't want to see that anymore. It ends up in the oceans and it hurts animals.
Yes.
Maybe finding a way to make that biodegradable using some different type of material, cutting down on cardboard maybe. Maybe updating packaging too so that it has like a new brand personality or look, a more modern kind of feel. I mean, we know it's like a classic soda, but updating it might help get more sales as well.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I like that. No wonder you won those awards. It's crazy. And that's one thing that I mentioned. I think it was other class, but if it was this class, my apologies. But to Rachel's point, that I had a conversation with UP earlier last week, where Penn State is looking to negotiate their 5-year contract with a vendor. I'm gonna say a vendor. You'll figure it out, but a vendor. So Penn State is this very large vendor. This vendor's $1 billion company. Penn State's the largest customer of this vendor. All right. So I was working with the Sustainability Institute because I do a lot of work with the Sustainability Institute. And we're looking to see how we can integrate sustainability into this negotiation. Because this organization and other organization, you know who they both are. Okay, I'll leave it at that. One of them is very good in terms of being transparent in terms of sustainability. The other is not so good, right? They have a lot of plans on the roadmap in terms of sustainability, right? Where this other organization does a lot of things in sustainability. Okay. Now, in the industry that these vendors work in, there's a lot of waste. And these vendors are second and third in terms of most plastic produced in the world. Now, it's just because of the industry they're in. Like they're not going, they're always, no matter what they do, they're still going to be, not unless they take out all plastic, they're still going to be top 5. Just because of the stuff they do, right? Now, they're going to continue to produce plastic. They're going to continue to produce, the packaging. But like you said, they can do biodegradable packaging. They can produce recyclable packaging. They can put programs in place on campus to incentivize. So my proposal was you incentivize students to recycle, right? And that way we're keeping those plastics out of the landfills. Now, students have been hearing a lot of stuff about crypto, right? I say you have these organizations to incentivize the students to recycle by using a coin where they can actually scan it, and then they can build up points, kind of like Jimmy John's and Subway and all this stuff, buy 10, get one free. So if you scan this thing 50 times, you get a free 12 pack. I don't know, something like that, right? The incentivization, you're going to get students to do it, right? So that's where we're going. So he's going to mark some things up. I think we have to in the next month to get something ready for President Barron. So this is getting presented to President Barron, because I mean, this is a 5-year contract, a multi-million-dollar contract, but I think that there's a lot of, so from a marketing perspective, this is huge, not only for Penn State, but for this organization as well, right? Because if you choose the organization that is not doing so well on sustainability, and now we went in partnership with Penn State, that's huge marketing for that organization. But in order to get this huge marketing at this organization, they have to make their commitment. In my opinion, they have to put their money where their mouth is, because you're not doing it now. So you have to prove that you're going to do it. So I say you have to put some money up. You have to make a commitment to research, to partner with Penn State. Penn State has one of the largest sustainability institutes in the world, right? One of the largest research institutions in the world. So if you partner with that, that's huge marketing, and you're now actually taking steps to make a positive impact. Now, if Penn State continues to work with this organization and they continue to say they're going to do things and they don't do things, that's a reputational risk for Penn State, right? So from a marketing perspective, from a strategic marketing perspective, that could be the negative impacts, right? So that's one thing that we talked. I mean, we had an hour and a half conversation about this, because yes, and it comes down to educating the administration at Penn State. Yes, they hear about it. Yes, they talk about it. But do they really understand it? To be honest, they don't really have to really understand it. They have to be educated to say, here's why we're pushing this. Yes, we're going to make a positive impact on the world, but with Penn State adding that to their strategic vision, their strategic plan at a campus perspective, if we don't do it, this could be bad, right? That's where I come from, right? We can talk about things all we want to, but if we don't do it, we run a huge risk of this thing backfiring, right? So I think everyone's on board with that, because I think, well, we'll see what this organization says, because they'll say, yeah, we'll do it. I say, well, show us you're going to do it and give us 10 million for research. Like, wait a minute. But this 5-year contract, we're giving you 200 million. Your choice. Because the last negotiation, they said the last negotiation was very close between the two companies, right? So it's not like they can just waltz in and just and get the new contract. It's still going to be very close between these other organizations, because the organization they didn't choose, they're doing a lot of good stuff in terms of sustainability, right? But at the end of the day, my ultimate question is, how high on the importance or priority list is sustainability, right? Does people at this organization have influence to decision makers at Penn State? Pretty sure they do. Pretty sure they do. Penn State's huge. And there's going to be a lot of influence whenever Penn State's this company's largest customer. They're not just going to let Penn State go, right? So there has to be some pretty large commitments from this organization's perspective. Brittany, do you have any thoughts on this in terms of strategic marketing?
No, I do not. Not in regards to what we've been talking about.
Okay. Carlos, do you have anything?
I don't either.
Okay. So yeah, from a strategic leadership perspective, your chief marketing officer is going to provide you with that long-term vision of the organization. The CEO is typically, so traditionally, the chief executive officer normally comes from a sales background, because they're able to sell a company, they're able to sell the brand of the company, right? But now you're seeing more CEOs with operations experience, supply chain experience, right? Because the CEO needs to understand the short-term and long-term operations of the organization, not just selling the company on people, right? That's the old way. The new way is we're trying to understand the operations of the organization of each one of our facilities so that we can become more efficient. We can create more efficient supply chains. Now, because of our operations, the company sells itself, right? Look at Amazon. Bezos does not have to sell Amazon one bit, right? People see the efficiency of Amazon. They see it firsthand. So it's easy for people to invest in Amazon, right? So, life lesson, whenever you begin to invest in the stock market and things like that, invest in the things that you use. Invest in things that you believe in. Invest in things that you see. Back in the day, everyone was investing in Walmart because they're in Walmart every single day, right? Now, we are seeing a lot of people invest in Amazon. Amazon showing up my door every single day, even on Sundays, right? So that's one thing. That's going to be very important as you progress, within your lives and within your careers. I'm a huge investor of Tesla. I love Teslas, and I'm never getting another car. That's not happening, right? I mean, it's my vision that half of the cars are going to be Teslas in the next 5 years on the road. The Model 3s and Model S's, they're getting lower and lower. Hopefully Model X goes down. But, you have to, but again, that's Mark. So Tesla sells itself. How many Tesla commercials have you seen? How many? 0, right? How many Facebook ads? You just now started seeing Facebook ads, like what, last year and a half, maybe? It sells itself. You just started seeing Google commercials last couple of years. It sells itself. So you as a marketing manager, that is going to be like the ultimate goal. That's going to be the holy grail. How can I have my brand sell itself? What do I have to do to have my brand sell itself? Right? Because that way, now you're saving marketing dollars. Right? Because right now, just think to yourself how much your organization pumps into marketing. right? Because your companies don't sell itself. Your companies can't sell itself right now. People don't know about your companies. You know, so that's the job of the chief marketing officer. You know, to raise that, to continually raise that brand awareness for the company. Any thoughts? Any comments? So as we said before, so for a chief executive officer, the CEO is going to, again, establish the company culture. I mean, you can see where Elon established the company culture for the Boring Group, SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink. You know, that is that company culture. You know, it comes from the top down, right? You know, Elon also determines the direction of the organization. You know, Elon says we're going to go to Mars. Everybody said, man, you're nuts. He did it. He did it. Right. So people say Dogecoin is not going to go up. He say, man, you're nuts. He did it. He did it. He can do many things. So just from a chief marketing officer perspective, as I said, you want to establish the vision for the organization from a marketing perspective. You know, the chief marketing officer for Tesla's probably he probably already thinks, okay, how can we market our innovation without really marketing our innovation, right? Tesla has the cult following. They have ambassadors where the ambassadors do all the marketing for them. Right. You know, so that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing that we have seen from an organizational perspective. When we talk about strategic leadership. So another thing to consider when we're talking about strategic leadership is with leadership, you also have to influence change. Organizational change is one of the most often overlooked pieces to an organization, right? It's so it's so important. It's so important. My PhD's in leadership and organizational change, right? People think that we can take $1 million piece of code, you know, a software, implement it within the organization, and it's going to work. You know, that's not true. It's not going to work if people don't adopt it, if people don't embrace it. You know, so organizational change is very important. The way in which you leverage your power, the way in which leaders leverage their power is going to also be important, right? The way that you leverage or demonstrate that power is going to dictate how the workforce follows, right? Now you have different approaches, you have different theories. There's no one size fits all approach, right? And there are going to be some approaches that are going to work in some environments. There's going to be others that work differently in other environments, right? So, you know, I think, and that's also so you have power and you have leadership, right? So again, I always say from a leadership perspective, you have a transactional leadership type model. Transactional leadership type model is going to be very important in an environment like Amazon. Amazon is based on transactions. If that distribution center manager does not have that transactional leadership type model, then my Amazon Prime shipment is going to get to the house every single day, right? So you have to have that type of competency because of that industry, because of that environment, right? Now, you also, so for any kind of project, you have to have a transformational leadership because there's going to be a lot of change that takes place. You have to be a transformational leader. You have to be able to influence change. So transformational leadership is going to be very important. Okay. Now, also, in my case, I like to say that I blend transformational leadership and servant leadership, right? I'm a teacher, I'm a professor. I need to serve, and I need to ensure that you have everything you all need to be successful, right? I'm also a transformational leader. Traditional teachers just run you through PowerPoints every single day, right? I have to influence change to say, I'm not doing PowerPoints. I'm throwing up the objectives and we're talking through it. Right? I ask every single class if this is helpful. They say they've never done anything like that. They haven't really done anything like this before, and they think they feel that this is more meaningful and they can remember this information. I've had 2 students out of 130 this semester that said they'd rather have PowerPoints. 2. Right? So would y'all rather have PowerPoints? All right. So that that's kind of a transformational leadership, because even some of the faculty members don't get it. How do you do that? I've lived this stuff. I don't teach theory. PowerPoint slides theory. Right? I've been through this stuff. Like I told you the very first week, I'm not a marketing guy, but I've worked with marketing teams. So I'll tell you the story of my experience with marketing teams. Right? So you have that. And again, I would say that, yes, power is one thing. You can switch, you can switch, your the way you leverage your power, right? But in terms of a strategic change, organizational change, that's going to take time, because change is influencing takes trust, and influencing also takes time for you to explain to people why you are looking to make this change and the positive impacts of that change, right? So that's some of the things that we talk about from a strategy perspective, from a strategic leadership perspective. Any thoughts on that? All right. So emotional intelligence. Review this video within the course content. Emotional intelligence is one thing we talk a lot about. In that emotional intelligence is one thing I do talk about, but emotional intelligence is theory in a lot of cases, right? But if you think about it and you put it into a practical sense, how many times have you had your emotions direct your decisions? Right? That's all emotional intelligence is. Emotional intelligence is about being aware, being cognizant of what your emotions are at the given moment that you have to make a decision. right? And you have to continue to be aware of that, especially when you're with you as a leader are interacting with people within your organization, right? So going back to the pandemic, you know, how much did emotional intelligence influence the decisions of people, of organizations, right? A lot, I could imagine, right? So you have the emotional intelligence is all about being aware of that, and how your decisions will positively or negatively impact others. Okay. So again, take a look at this video on emotional intelligence. Any thoughts and comments? So for ethical leadership, again, ethical leadership falls into this whole corporate social responsibility I talk a lot about. It falls into the whole sustainability discussion I talk about. It's more of that people aspect, right? It's the societal / people aspect within corporate social responsibility. So, and that's what Rachel was talking about. That's what Rachel was talking about in her presentation. Where there's a social impact to leadership, and also you're seeing a lot of that. You're seeing a lot of that from a marketing perspective. Now, not only are we talking about the environmental considerations from a sustainability perspective, but we're looking at the societal impacts as well, right? So that's where ethical leadership comes in. But I would say that the leadership piece comes in is, yes, we're saying all this stuff from a marketing perspective, right? We want to get people to buy in to what we're talking about, but from a leadership perspective, are we walking the talk, right? You see a lot of people talking about diversity and inclusion, and gender equality and things like that. But are those organizations really walking the talk? Or are they just jumping on the bandwagon, putting things out there just because everyone else is, right? Like the Black Lives Matter thing. Like I said, I'll be the first one to say there've been some good things that have gone on, but are people really walking the talk, right? I'm one to also say that there's bigger things than Black Lives Matter, and people rip me apart every single time, and I still believe that, to be honest, right? There's bigger problems in the world that to be talking about people that are in probably the freest country in the world. How about you? How about you look at how half of India doesn't have working toilets? How about you look at the civil wars that's going on over in these other countries, right? How about you look at the genocide that's going on in Africa, in some countries that nobody's talking about? That's a little bit better. That's a little bit bigger than Black Lives Matter, in my opinion, right? But ethical leadership, we want to talk about Black Lives Matter. I don't believe it. I don't like it, right? So, but are people going to say that and go against what everyone else is doing from a marketing perspective? No, they're not. They're not, right? So, that's the decision. That's the decision of that's the decisions that chief marketing officers have to make. Are you going to run that risk? Think about the chief marketing officer of Nike. When what's his name? Who's the quarterback that nailed?
Kaepernick.
Yeah, Kaepernick. Why was I thinking Sanchez? What the heck? Well, I was way off. Yeah, so think of, and that's a shame I didn't remember his name. That's a shame. Now that's sad on my part. I will say that. But think about the strategic marketing decision that the CMO of Nike made. When everyone was going against Kaepernick, they were supporting it. They were embracing it. That's a huge risk, right? I mean, you had people burning Nikes, right? You see how we're burning Nikes. They weren't burning Jordans. They were burning Nikes. But anyway, that's what, so from an ethical leadership perspective, that was true ethical leadership. They were walking the talk. They were going against what everybody else was doing, right? And it paid back dividends, right? And there's some people, there's some organizations that will, go against the grain, and they will say, okay, if you don't believe in us, we don't want you as a customer, right? And I believe in that as well. I'm not, for a fact, I'm not for everybody. For a fact that's true. And I feel the same way. If you don't rock with what I rock with, if you're on LinkedIn, I say there's an unfollow button right there. It's 2 clicks, done. End of story. Right? Because we're probably not going to work together anyway. You just open up my list to get more people I can collaborate with. That's how you should look at it from a marketing perspective. There is not a single person in the world that's going to please everybody. It's impossible. It's impossible. So that's one thing where whenever you look at ethical leadership, when you look at the morals of the organization, when you look at the purpose of the organization, you got to stay true to yourself. And you're seeing more of that with you all. You're seeing more of that whenever you're actually looking for organizations to work for, right? You're saying that I'm just not going to take a job for the sake of taking a job and coming here and hating life every single day. The organization's morals and purpose need to be aligned with mine. And I love it. I love it because I've been on panel discussions where like these 50-year-old men, they say, we don't get it. They don't want to work. They're lazy. No, they have morals that you obviously don't have because you're saying those things. Right? So you all are you're changing the business landscape. You're changing the business landscape, and I think that we're going to see more of a positive outcome to this ethical leadership, and it's directly impacting companies, small, medium, and large, right? So I'm very excited about it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll pick back up on Wednesday. We only have one more section to go. So, all right. Anything else? All right. If you have any questions, just reach out. I know I got a bunch of emails. I don't know where I got those just came in like after 10 o'clock last night. So I got to figure what's going on. All right. Yeah. So everyone have a good week and we'll talk on Wednesday. All right. All right. See you.